The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event, it's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds, a movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC Experience Mastermind. Light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC Experience Mastermind, where purpose is found.
Ooh, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you, gentlemen. How you guys doing today?
Exceptional, getting better every day.
There you go. That is the perfect answer.
We had an exceptional time in Tampa, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure
Absolutely.
did.
Some of the remarks, the testimonials that are coming in are beyond anything that I ever expected. And I love the topic today because it's ascend, right? Growth demands altitude. So we are going up, my friends. We are going
absolutely.
up. Here's the cool thing. We have some really exceptional people joining us today. Let's bring in, are you ready for this?
Who
Our
is it
sponsor
today?
for Tampa. Good morning, Jacqueline.
Yes, Jacqueline.
We have Renee.
All the way from
We have,
Nevada.
yes,
Like 3,
Michael.
4 o'clock in the morning. That's right.
Marco, Leon.
Hey, Marco,
Good
Michael.
morning, good morning.
Good morning, ladies
Good morning.
And gentlemen.
and gentlemen. That's right. That's right. Such a
But
pleasure.
always ladies first, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Such a pleasure to see the ladies. I haven't seen them since Tampa, and we had such a great time. And just, I'm still recovering from such a wonderful, energizing weekend with you ladies. It was a pleasure.
Yes.
And Mike, you did an excellent job running around. I know you probably still tired. I tell you, you are still tired.
I have no words.
He's
But thank you for the
still tired.
nice comments.
You did a great. Your team did a great job, man. Capturing.
They definitely did.
That's professionalism 101, right there.
Bremen brand all the way. Absolutely.
That's right,
That's
Bremen.
it.
That's right. That's speaking. That say it loud, Bremen brand. But it was like capturing a genie in a bottle, and you were able to do that because there were just some moments and just things that we probably won't experience again. And you got a chance to capture some of that, which was phenomenal. Because I think other people need to see what we experienced. You know, so
They
big
need
shout
to
out
feel
to
it, Lancelot. They need to feel it.
feel absolutely. Absolutely.
See and feel. So here's the thing, right? Today is about ascend because that's what Atlanta is going to be. We're going to ascend. So think about the concept of ignite. We ignited something, some sparks in Tampa.
Mhm.
Who, even though it didn't seem like it was hot out there in Tampa, who felt like the room was boiling hot?
There was definitely some heat.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And the meeting after the meeting were all so much fun as well. Who wants to share a little bit of what their insight was? Maybe Jacqueline, you've been with us before. Leon, you have not. Marco, you have not. Renee, you have not. Mike, you have been. So the three of you, Renee, Marco, and Leon, if you can give us an insight of what your first take was on this experience for you.
Yeah, I'll go first. My expectations were pretty little. I've never been to any masterminds, but this was definitely the best one to be for my first time. It it was an eye opener, and I noticed everybody was just mentioning the connection. Being able to meet these different people and have follow-ups with them and be able to build together, and there was no competitiveness. Nobody was there to sell their business or sell their product. Everybody was there to learn, give experiences, and give knowledge, take knowledge. Everybody was there collectively, and it felt like we were walking into a room and welcomed in as family. It was truly an incredible experience, and I'll definitely be back for the next one.
Did you say you're coming back?
Absolutely. You already know it. I have to now. You reeled me in.
I didn't even know I was fishing, but I did throw the net wide.
100%. I mean, everything Marco just said, from the minute you walk into the room. This was my first mastermind experience. And so when I stepped into the room, I had never met anybody in person. And from the moment you stepped into the room, there was this energy that was not like nothing I'd ever felt before. There was an instantaneous understanding that this was a room of pouring out and gently and a place where you could safely receive everything that was being poured out, because it was all pure and true. And yeah, I'm in. I won't miss another one for sure.
Excellent. Love hearing that.
To add on to what Leon said, the energy was one of the pieces that was so magnetic for me. Sifu, you prepared me a little bit, but you didn't give me just the full experience of what the room was like. It was completely different than anything that I've experienced before. I was expecting, oh, it's just a workshop and there'll be some speakers and we'll get some information. Okay, I'm prepared for that. But I wasn't prepared for so much, to receive so much. And it was such a great experience to, in person, to hug some of the people that I see on video, and you see in the camera, and it was like I'm in the room full of celebrities. It felt like just every single person had so much to give, but then also it made you want to receive. It lifted my expectations that I had for myself being in the presence of so many individuals, which ties into our topic, ascend, because when you're in spaces, expect to elevate the space, but then also expect to be around people who are going to elevate you.
I love it. And before we get to our sponsor for Tampa, let's have Michael's thoughts, because you were not only there as a participant, but you were there, you brought your team, and you were capturing all the moments. Talk to us about that, Michael.
Sorry, my mouse wouldn't move, so I was trying to unmute. I got to see it from both ends. So from backstage to the front, and I got to tell you, this being, I don't know whether it's my third or my fourth New York City experience, but I got to tell you, it was an amazing experience. The people there were awesome. Everybody was open to learn from each other. Nobody pushed any agenda on anyone. Having smiling faces like Leon and Renee there were really cool. And the positive energy. And Jacqueline, you're an all-star. So I really appreciated just being in the same room as you. Marco, you got to give yourself more credit than you do. Even though you're young, you are one smart man. So kudos. And then, of course, hanging out with the three of you is a privilege and an honor. So thank you guys. But I wouldn't miss one, even if I wasn't working in it.
Why do you say that? And I get that, right? And you're working in it. But for some reason, if you stepped out of everything, why would you come back?
Because it is an experience, and it's important to be in certain rooms. I think we talked about it in previous iterations, but if when you're in a room with high level individuals and you're welcomed into the room, then you're in the right room. Whereas sometimes you try to go into a room and those doors are closed, right? For whatever reason. And they may be high professionals, but it's just the wrong room for you. So when you find the right room and you find the right people in that room, then you should do everything in your power to stay in that room.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I paid to be in a room with a bunch of high celebrities, and I paid the most amount of money you could possibly pay, and I still didn't get to talk to the celebrities I was supposed to talk to because they didn't even get off. They got off stage and they left. So I don't want to be in that room again. It was not positive on my end. Don't get me wrong. I appreciated everything, but I really didn't take much away from that room. Would you guys agree that you took a lot from that room and you're still reviewing your notes?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say because of how many people there were, we had a large crowd, but it wasn't too big where we couldn't each connect with one another. And I think we all got to speak with each other, communicate, exchange information, and take a little piece from one another, experience-wise and advice, things like that. It was incredible.
All right, let's hear it from Jacqueline. Jacqueline, young lady, go for it.
So I thought, as the title shared, it was all about igniting, right? So and that is truly what we all did, and it does. It's each one is building on each other. The room and the people, as everybody has just shared, was just really dynamic, and you brought people. There were people that came together that didn't know each other before, that now actually do, and the connections are just so much stronger. And it was really that quality of people over the quantity of people, which was really important. Sometimes the smaller room actually brings out the best in everybody and brings out the greatness in everyone. So it was again, it ignited fire, I think, within everybody, and we got to ignite something within ourselves and within other people, which is really what we wanted. You cannot, if you can leave, I love sharing, like if you can leave the place a little bit better, you yourself and the other people that are in the room, maybe because you were able to pour into them or they were pouring into you, that's the best.
Absolutely. Lancelot, and then we'll get to Jose. What are your thoughts on everything that we were able to create in Tampa?
First of all, just brilliant weekend. I came with the intentions of being better than I was at the last mastermind that we had in Farmingdale. But one of the other reasons is because I really wanted to connect with Danny's attitude, his way of thinking. We had him on our show a few times, and he, as a person that's in the entertainment industry like myself and someone who has ascended to a certain level, he still had that mentality of when I come into a room, I'm trying to make sure everybody is having a good time. I'm trying to make sure if I can move the table to help somebody move the table. And that kind of thought process is different for artists. And I wanted to learn that. So when I came in there with the idea of giving as much of myself, but also learning from Danny Z in particular. And what I took from that, and then in real time giving, it was the most amazing experience. And then, like Renee, I didn't get a chance to talk to, and then I went up to Renee. See, we have to connect. And we went to dinner and we started speaking. But it was because of the intention. I had a specific intention to learn from Danny Z and then also give to the room as much as possible. And when you do that, and the other thing is to reconnect afterwards, which is something that I didn't do before as well. And so in having an intention and in following through with your intention, it opened the door for just incredible friendships, an incredible experience. The meeting after the meeting was wonderful, and just it took everything up another level. And that's what Ascension to me is all about. It's about growth, and it's about getting better, a little bit better each time you go to one of these things. And that's what happened, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Jose, your take.
Well, for the 7 a.m. Best Dressed Award, Lancelot, you win once again. Well done. But I've got to say, and that's a 7 a.m. award. I mean, that's a big one. I've got to say that I had a blast. It was just amazing people in the room. I got to meet, of course, Marco and Renee and Leon for the first time. They've been in my world in different ways, different capacities. And I never met them, right? And it's amazing to kind of finally get to meet people that you've known for a while, and that was fantastic. We had great conversations. And then Michael Stevenson, of course, and Pete and Scott, Brim and Brand, they just over-delivered as they always do. You guys are so easy to work with, great communication, super professional, and you know how to have a good time too, right? So it's fantastic. And then, of course, Jacqueline, our sponsor and speaker for the event, she was phenomenal as always. So thank you so much. We honor that. And Sifu and Lancelot, it's an honor to be able to do such phenomenal things like this together, right? Because it's a group effort. And I've got to say, I go to events, whether I'm hosting, co-hosting, or just attending, right? Or involved in some capacity. Sometimes I go to events and I don't even speak. I don't even sponsor. I'm just there as a butt in the seat, right? And I love that. And it's important. You never stop attending events ever. Like for me, it's just part of the process. As an entrepreneur, it's part of the growth journey. You're just doing this because you know you need to. And it's important, and you're going to build relationships and collaborations and things along the way. And every now and then I'll be speaking too, and I'll go to events to speak and or sponsor, right? And that's cool too. And then you host and then you co-host events, and that's awesome as well. But I can tell you, every single event I go to, I'm always going to take away a ton of things. There's never an event that I go to where I'm like, oh, that was an absolute waste of my time. Now, some events, of course, are more impactful than others, depending on the layout, depending on the effort, depending on who's there and who's involved and all the things. But this one was absolutely memorable. So shout out to all of you who showed up to Tampa. Sharon Thomas, great to see you. Ellis Kirkpatrick, good morning. Bethany Stone. Angeline Constantino, who was with us in Florida. She was amazing as always. So again, growth in anything is not accidental. You don't accidentally grow into the next version of yourself, right? It's very intentional. So the next one that we're doing, which I'm super excited about, Atlanta, we're going to ascend. Right. And ascend really is about leaving the level of where you are, going to a new level. Right. And what does that require from all of us? It requires us to perhaps think in terms of mental toughness, mental clarity, stronger thinking. Right. We got to put better habits in place. We got to be willing to meet bigger relationships, right, than what we're used to. Make tough decisions. We have to have the courage to step out of whatever is comfort right now. So remember, growth demands altitude, right? Ascending. That's what growth requires. And that means we're separating from something before. So I'm excited for the next one that's going to be in Atlanta, because I'm going to be, again, separating myself from where I am now. The person I am today is not going to be the same person I'm going to be in September. And it's going to continue that way. And that's the way it should be. And if it's not that way, we got to do some inventory.
I love that. Let's do some inventory. Jose, you and I, we've been to a lot of events together. We met at events, right? And we kept bumping into each other. Marco actually said to me, how many events have you been to? How long have you been doing this? Marco, do you recall the answer I gave you?
Way before I was born, way before you met my mother. For a long time. You even said since the dinosaurs were around.
I was meeting in caves, man. I got to tell you, those were the rooms back then, and those were different rooms if you think about it, because I've traveled all over to be in rooms. I've been in rooms where the audience is, 30 grand, 30,000 people. I've been in audiences where it's 6 people. So it's important that we all know that when you get into a certain room, the energy that's in the room, and that some of you spoke about that already, right? Renee and Leon, you spoke about the energy in the room, and so did Jacqueline, because when you're able to connect with people at a deeper level, that's the room that you really want to move towards. Like I said, listen, when I was in a room with 30,000 people, I only connected with 2 people. There were the people on my left and people on my right, because there was nowhere else to go. And that was okay. And I still have those connections. But every time, and Jose and I bumped into each other until Jose actually said to me, hey, man, we might as well be friends at this point, because we keep bumping into each other. And then slowly we got closer and closer and closer. And that's somebody who I'm going to be doing life with, right? I met Lancelot one time. And Lancelot, it was maybe a minute and a half that we talked. And a minute and a half was one that really changed everything for both of us, right? That connection, literally, Lancelot, would you say it was longer than a minute and a half?
No, because it was in the middle of me trying to get out, and it was just people all over the place. Yes, it was about right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but it was an intentional connection. And then we followed up. And so the follow-up is the important thing that I want to share with everybody. Has anybody not followed up? And if you haven't, that's okay. It's only a week away. You still need to make that time. I personally have been crazy. I've only followed up with a few people, but I'm looking to follow up with every single person that was there, because guess what? I have everybody's cell number. Everybody's cell number. Did you hear what I just said?
Yes.
Everybody. So if you need somebody's number, just call me and we'll talk. I'm just kidding.
I just tapped into that with Sifu. I said, hey man, I lost so-and-so's phone number. Do you have it? He said, oh yeah, sure, here you go.
Yeah. So, as givers, both Jose, Lancelot, and myself, we give. So if you need a connection to somebody, because connections, and Jacqueline and I, we're building something huge. I mean, really huge. But it's at a different level, right? Something entirely different. But we know that your network helps your network. And if you don't focus on that, the connections, if you let them go, you never know where that person who could have connected you. And I love what Jose shared with us in person about connecting a power connector. Would you mind sharing that, Jose?
I forgot what I said. I'm just kidding. So yeah, no, I was talking about the power connection, that you're one power connection away from exponential growth in your life, personally and professionally, right? And all that means is one person that you meet can literally result in $100,000 worth of revenue for your business. It could lead to the next major breakthrough. Sometimes the breakthrough is not income. Sometimes it's just a potential stage. It's a visibility piece. It's the right speaking engagement. It's a sponsorship opportunity. It's whatever wasn't there before that power connection allowed you to have. And keep in mind that the power connection may not be the person you meet right now. So I might meet Leon, but Leon will introduce me to Jacqueline, will introduce me to Renee, will introduce me to Lancelot, will introduce me to Michael, who led me to Marco. And sometimes it's going to be the Marco. But the only way I get to the Marco is if I nurture the Leon. And then Leon will taproot me into Jacqueline. And then I got to build that relationship. And then Jacqueline will say, oh my gosh, Jose's amazing. I'm going to introduce him to Renee. And at some point, somewhere along the line, usually 10 layers deep, and it can happen within a year, you're going to meet one person that's a power connector that's going to completely shift your business. And I believe that you grow your business from power connection to power connection to power connection. And in 10 years, 10 power connections, that's $1 million business. And that's assuming that you take that long to do it.
So I was challenged to take the relationship capital and make the relationship capital equation, which is people, your connections, relationship capital equals people times the connections in the room to the nth power. And so those 6 people that you meet, if you do the math with the power connections and adding to the relationship capital, 6 people can equal over 460,000 connections.
Wow.
Wow.
So, and you pick 6 because it's like 6 degrees of separation. So if you're thinking on that realm, so the room is powerful. The people you meet is powerful. It is building on that relationship capital and how you actually keep working it. It's, and it's about giving and not taking. And it's about how, again, finding ways that you can support and help one another, because it will come back to you in spades.
Absolutely. I just want to share something with everybody. Take a look.
Have you been networking for years, meeting great people, having good conversations, but still feel like you're doing it alone? This might be the reason. Most people don't fail because they lack connections. They fail because they never turn connections into relationship capital. Hi, I'm Jacqueline. I've watched incredibly talented people stay stuck. Not because they weren't capable, because they were randomly networking instead of building the right relationships intentionally. You see, in my system, we don't just exchange contacts. We build trust, we mastermind, we create strategic connections that actually move people forward personally and professionally. I work one-on-one with clients who are done guessing. My team and I bring clarity to their direction, sharpen their strategy, and help them leverage the relationships that matter most. If this sounds familiar, don't ignore it. Stop collecting contacts and start building relationship capital. I'm Jacqueline, and I'd like to connect with you.
Love that video. I got to tell you what one of the things that I noticed in that video is that everybody's making connections, and this is a perfect one for everybody to understand. When it was panning and the girl's on the phone,
She's not connecting.
She was not connecting, right? And that was the beautiful part, because the 2 people next to her were connecting. But she was talking to probably somebody she already knew. Meanwhile, you should not do that when there's people in front of you, and that you can always call somebody back, right? And so we did see that in Tampa. Everybody was connecting. So great video, Jacqueline. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it. And if you think about the connections that we make every day, we have a choice. How do we handle the connections we made last week, a month ago? If you I have thousands of connections on my phone, I still reach out to people. I have a connection with a gentleman, Alan Baker. If you're listening, love you, brother. This guy reaches out to me every single Friday and just sends me a happy Friday, coach. And for years, he's been doing that. Now, do you think I'm connected to this guy? Absolutely. And by the way, if you ever want to get kidnapped, thrown into a van by 2 Marines, he can make that happen. And then, of course, they teach you how to get out of the situation. So Alan is an incredible military fighting type of guy. He trains a lot of special ops, and he trains all these different people, but he has a service that he can actually kidnap you if you want. And think about the excitement of getting kidnapped, but you know you're not going to die at the end, right? Would anybody like to get kidnapped? No.
I'll pass on that one.
Yeah, I think I'm good on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sifu, that had to be the worst pitch I've ever heard. Like,
Hey, raise
want
your
to
hand.
get
You want
The only reason I say it like that is because it takes a special kind of person to understand that life has to be challenging. I spoke about it in Tampa, didn't I? You cannot stay comfortable. So that's a way to get uncomfortable, learn how to defend yourself in case of a real life situation. Yeah, so you get a little kidnapped.
I was getting ready to say I could think of other ways to get uncomfortable.
Yes.
I'll jump out of a plane or something like that. Kidnap is
That's more dangerous.
Yeah.
Not that it is, right? Because I have another friend of mine who's jumped over, I think, 800 times out of a plane, right?
That's
My
bucket
brother,
list. That's my bucket
Caesar, was a paratrooper in the Marines. So he used to jump out of helicopters on a rope. Not a parachute, out of rope, jump down, all that good stuff. So it all depends on the action that you want in life. And when you come to our events, nobody's going to kidnap you, but people are going to engage you in a conversation that may change your life.
You
Your
think
feet will
Danny
be on the
would
ground,
have
but you're
raised
going to be
his
rising
hand?
up. Sorry.
You think Danny Z would have raised his hand, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know you would have.
Definitely.
He would have said yes. But can I ask a question? Like, when we talk about being uncomfortable, I think I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about a lot of new entrepreneurs don't know what that means. You know, to stay uncomfortable, to stay kind of in the grind, but staying in community with people who have done the work and staying in the rooms helps you understand what that actually looks like. And so, can you talk about what that actually means? Because it does, to me, a lot of times it could mean not having that foundation and reaching for something that's actually not possible. So, staying uncomfortable, what does that mean? Because you're not talking about just being uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, I'll put it in a simple way, right? Let's think about business, right? You speak to somebody and you're trying to sell them your product, and they have to think about it, and then you say to them, "Well, what do you have to think about?" And then you're asking questions, and if they say, "I need more time," okay, how much time do you need? Okay, I need great. And why do you need 2 weeks? So we get into that, right? We're making them a little bit uncomfortable. They actually have to answer questions. But the uncomfortable part comes in where you go, oh, I had a hard time selling that person. Let me not call them back. Uncomfortable is I'm going to call them back once, twice, 3, 4, 5. And my motto is until they die or tell me not to call them back. And that's uncomfortable. And people are afraid of getting uncomfortable. And then they go question themselves. It's like, I'm not as successful as this one or that one. Because you didn't get uncomfortable. You didn't do the things that were necessary to do so. When I used to sell real estate, I was one of the ones that all the other ones are like, oh, you're going to an appointment. How come you're going to an appointment? And I was in the office with a bunch of people and like, you got an appointment? You got an appointment? I'm like, yeah, I'll see you guys later. And the reason was because I would call people. I would literally call people and get appointments. So you got to be uncomfortable to succeed.
I'd
In
like
life,
to check this,
it's
Sifu.
never easy for it. Absolutely.
No, I just want to. I mean, I love this question that you raised, Leon, because I think I always say keep it simple, right? And there's a book about that, and it's really the idea of we tend to take super simple concepts and complicate it. Right, just our natural thing of like questioning and looking at different perspectives and angles, trying to dissect something that is already dissected to the most basic fundamental thing, right? So when it comes to for example, discomfort and choosing discomfort, I always look at it as a simple thing. Like, for example, if I'm at an event and I'm sitting with a group of people, like 4 or 5 people at my table, I have two options. I can enjoy the comfort of being in the group that I already know and hanging out with the people who I know, or I could be uncomfortable and say, I'm going to get up at the appropriate time to go meet people and shake hands of strangers I don't know. That requires a level of discomfort. So I will choose the discomfort because I know there's a greater reward in areas that are outside of my comfort zone, because anything that's in your comfort zone is basically keeping you where you are right now in life, personally, professionally. If you want to achieve more, you have to go outside of that circle, the discomfort zone, right? And then, of course, another example is I can go on daily walks, and at some point that's going to be comfortable, just going on the walk. I could say maybe today I'm going to jog for half of the mile, right? That's discomfort, right? Making outreaches to people that I know I need to reach out to would be comfortable because I know I got to follow up with this person, that person, whatever. On some level, it's comfort. But reaching out to Dr. So-and-so that I think is here and I'm here, and how are they going to perceive me? Am I ready for that conversation? That's a little uncomfortable, but that's what's required, right? So, and the list, I can go on and on and on, but the idea of discomfort is really just a simple one. And that is, do something that you're not comfortable doing. And when you're doing that, it's not so much just being uncomfortable for the sake of discomfort, because that's pointless. It's knowing that in order to go from point A to point B, and then from B to C and C to D and eventually Z down the line, it's going to require you to do more than what you're used to. It's going to require you to develop new skill sets. It's going to require you to perhaps add a few extra words to your vocabulary, right? It's going to require you to perhaps seek higher perspectives and expand your world vision by perhaps reading some more books and investing in more things and meeting different people and doing different things. I'll give you one last example. My brother, for the longest time, wasn't married, right? And then one day he said, I can't seem to meet my future wife, but he was always home, right? So I said, you're not going to meet your future wife at home. Like, that's comfortable. You got to get outside your comfort zone. You got to go out and expose yourself and meet people, right? And because the chances of, the FedEx person or the mail person or the pizza delivery person being the one that you're looking for is like slim to none, right? So sure enough, eventually he met his wife and he's happily married, but just those kind of things. So I think it's a great question, Leon, because the reality is people are asking that. But on the other side of that coin, I also say, just keep it simple. Sometimes the answer is not a complicated one. It is just exactly what is in front of you, which is it's just be uncomfortable.
I love that. Thank you both so much for the answer, because I'm getting those questions, of course, with entrepreneurial clients. And the one thing I want to say is to tie it back to coming into these rooms. It was not comfortable to walk into a room full of strangers. It was the best decision that I could have made. And so being in the room where you can ask questions that maybe are uncomfortable to ask, you're not sure who to ask, those people are also in those rooms, in this room, in this space. You can ask right in the comments. This is a power hour, and I just want to thank you all for what you do every day.
Yes. And Leon, thank you so much for the question, because when I think about comfort, I want to say that we all want to think that we like, being uncomfortable, but the reality is I like comfort. And from the moment I've met Sifu, he has constantly challenged me. And now it's kind of got this routine where I have to make sure that I'm challenging myself, because otherwise I'm not growing. And so, having a growth mindset and being a development and a coach, you always say those things. It's the right thing to say, but do you really feel it? And when you're around people, I will say every single person that I met in the room challenged me on some level because of what my assumptions were about networking, shaking the hand and saying, nice to meet you, but going beyond and getting the phone number and getting a picture. I looked through my phone and saw so many pictures. That's out of my comfort zone, because I'm like, I just met this person, but people were holding me accountable and reaching out. If I hadn't, reached out. And so I'm still going through my list, and that's out of my comfort zone, because I will say, oh, I'll follow up. And I'm like, do you really mean that? And the people who are in that room hold you accountable for that. And so that's helped me to step out of that comfort zone of being comfortable with what I thought was networking, but this is on a totally different level.
And Renee, didn't I help you understand the difference between just saying hi to somebody and taking a selfie and all that good stuff, right? Because you're like, look, see, I'm taking selfies. I'm like, congratulations.
Yes. That's a new way of I won't network the same after being in that room. And I've had so many powerful conversations, not the surface ones. I've had a conversation. I'm like, Zoraida, we talked for, I think 20 minutes. We're supposed to be 20 minutes, but we ended up talking for 2.5 hours. And then there was another connection, and then another connection. So those are the things that I crave, because it wasn't just the surface. And I appreciate every single person that I've talked to so much, because they've validated those things that were said in the room by Jacqueline, by Jose, and you get it. You want to be different. So I'll never be the same as far as that. I'm not great, but every single day I'm getting better in the way that I build those power connections, and with the intent of building a relationship.
Absolutely. I got to say, Michael, you were uncomfortable this morning, weren't you?
I was extremely uncomfortable this morning, thanks to you, Sifu, and your advice, but it made me feel alive. I'll give you that, right? Like, these cold showers are something. But the one thing that we have a real good case study right here, where the father is this huge networker, always loves to network. And then you have the son that just started and can't believe the impact that he has, because he felt that it was uncomfortable. And Marco, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but when Leon asked the question of like an example of discomfort, you and my brother were probably the most uncomfortable when you first got here, because one, it's new. Two, in your generation, it's not something that you guys normally do, right? So it'd be interesting to get your perspective on the level of discomfort and how it went from discomfort to something now that is intoxicating for you. You're always talking about doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the discomfort of walking into a room, like Leon said, and Renee, just being able to walk into a room with nobody you really know, and you kind of have this, you feel the pressure, because you know these are elite people and they're there for a reason. And now you're walking in with no expectations. It's very intimidating. But I think I'm going to tie in fitness into this a little bit, but I think I love fitness so much because it really showed me how to be in love with the discomfort and in love with challenging yourself, like my father, and being able to push for that extra rep or put on more weight or push yourself that extra mile to reach that success. You know, it's detrimental to who you are and what you're trying to achieve. So there was no chance that I wasn't going to walk in that room and stay there and take everything I possibly could and give everything I possibly could. It was incredible, like I said before.
And also, it's interesting because you have a specific mindset through athletics. I try to tell athletes all the time, because one of the biggest transitions that's very hard for athletes is when you finish playing and you're making that step into the real world. And a lot of them don't think they're equipped, and they're very nervous and fearful about taking that next step. But like you said, because of the discipline that you have through sports, when you make yourself uncomfortable, you can make yourself uncomfortable doing anything. And that's probably one of the reasons why you were able to go in this room, because you know what it is as a person who works out consistently, as a person who's trying to grow and ascend. you know what it takes to make yourself uncomfortable in order to be able to take yourself to the next level. So once you know what it is to be uncomfortable, you can transfer that into anything. And this is what I tell athletes all the time. You have the ability to be great at anything because the foundation has already been set. And you just showed that, Marco. You went into the room and you might have been a little fearful, but your instincts took over in understanding what it is to be uncomfortable already. And that's, like Mike said, that's a great case study to watch a young man like yourself. What are you, 24?
25, yeah.
25, be able to walk into that room and be comfortable after a while with, like you said, superstars. You know what I mean? And that's bravo to you, bro. And that's a great point, Mike. Great point.
Thank
So
you.
to piggyback off of what you just said, Lancelot, love what you said, and it's so true. John Maxwell talks about it all the time, the law of the rubber band, right? Once it stretches past the original dimension, it continues to grow, right? It doesn't go back to its original dimension when you stretch a rubber band. Same thing with the discomfort zone. When you get out of your comfort zone enough times, your comfort zone gets bigger.
Expands.
And it gets bigger and bigger, and what used to be uncomfortable is no longer uncomfortable. So for me, being on stage, speaking in front of people, whether it's 10 people or 1,000 people, right? For me, I never liked that. It was very uncomfortable, and I would get like shaky knees. I would start sweating like a maniac, and I would get nervous, and my heart would start to race, and I would just feel so uncomfortable. It was ridiculous. And I'll tell a 30-second story. Back in the day when I was at Amway, a long time ago, I'm sure you've heard of Amway Quickstar. It was like a multi-level marketing, and they would make you spin the circles in people's living rooms and dens and selling the dream of this vision of like recruiting people for detergent and energy drinks, all that kind of stuff. So I was never spinning the circles because at the beginning I had my upline, right? The person who recruited me was the one doing a presentation for me to all my people. Right, so I would invite my recruiter into all these houses to come meet my people so they can present the opportunity. And the purpose of this was for me to learn how to do it myself. Right, that's what their intention was. I was just kind of running the coattails, saying it is nice. I'm going to my business. I'm not the one doing the presentation because I don't like getting in front of people. And then one day, he walked away and he said, "Okay, guys, we're about to," and there was like 8 people in the room. And he's all right. So we're going to share the presentation today, and the fun thing about today is that the presenter is actually Jose. Come on up, Jose. And I was like, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe, my heart sank. And I thought I was going to die. I literally thought I was going to have a heart attack because that's like the first time I ever had to speak in front of people. And he said, come on up, Jose. It's your time to shine. And I was like, what? You want me to present this? And I was like, I can't. I was like, no, go ahead. Next time. I said, next time. And he's like, no, present. And he's like in front of everybody, right? So I'm like, can we talk on the side? So I pull him to the side quietly, and I'm like, listen, I can't do this. You don't understand. And he's like, no, you don't understand. I am not presenting today. So either your people are going to get no presentation or you're going to present. And I was like, I'm not ready. And he's like, Jose, I've done like 50 presentations for you. I was supposed to do 5, and we got to 50, and you still haven't done it. It's your time to shine. And he's like, get uncomfortable. And this is what I'm saying. He said, get uncomfortable. It's your time to shine. Get up there and just do it. Right. And who cares? They don't know if what you're doing is right or wrong. Right. And you can't say the wrong thing to the right people. That's where I learned that. And he's like, these people are the right people. They want you to win. They want to see something positive. So go out there and just do it. So sure enough, I didn't want to embarrass myself even more because the people were waiting. So I went and I presented. And I got to tell you, I could have filled a bucket of sweat, literally of my sweat and my knees, and my voice cracked a number of times. But just remember this. The higher you go when it comes to ascending, right, which is what we're talking about for the next event, the thinner the air gets, which means fewer distractions, fewer issues. You start to rise and you start to think differently. And that moment was a clarity moment for me that, okay, I have to embrace discomfort. I have to start not asking myself, what is the easy route? I got to ask myself, what is required of me? As entrepreneurs, we have to ask ourselves, what is required of us? Not what makes sense in terms of ease and comfort and the path of least resistance. the path of least resistance will never pay you what you're worth. So it was a tough lesson, but I embrace it today.
Great story.
Yeah. No longer buckets of sweat. He just comes out there, he's comfortable. Because he did the exact same thing he talked about earlier. The more uncomfortable you get, the easier it becomes. And guess what? That uncomfortableness that you now see as comfort, someone else is going to see as uncomfortable. So, Mike, when you said you were uncomfortable this morning and you took a cold shower, guess who was not uncomfortable? This guy. Because I've been doing it for so many years. It's just part of my routine, right? And I don't know if I was ever uncomfortable with it because I was a dumb kid when I was doing it. But it's a matter of getting that repetition in.
Getting used to
right?
it.
So that's what's going to make it. Listen, you don't build muscle by sitting on the couch. Do you? You
No,
build something
right,
else.
No, sir. Oh, you're talking to me.
something
No,
else for
not
sure.
at
You got
all.
to get in the gym. You got to start lifting weights. You know, I
Yeah.
keep thinking about all of the, you know, what we're saying, and I keep thinking about, like, you know, everybody. We've all been in so many situations, and think about every one of us drives a car, right? Right. Remember
Yes.
that first time you get behind the wheel and you're like,
Yeah.
you know, you know, put your foot on the gas and you're learning, right? And then all of those things that we do, right? Driving a car, we, you know, we're consciously thinking of things and we're totally uncomfortable behind the wheel. We have to think about everything. And over time, obviously, as we finally get our driver's license, there are those things that become unconscious. We just do them because we know how to do them. And it's the same thing, like getting uncomfortable. We have to be able to put ourselves in the room where we're consciously thinking about what we're doing so that it can become unconscious. And that we turn those things into our greatness. You know, I think about also like walking into my, you know, I love to work out. You guys may see me every once in a while go live from my Peloton, but I also do spin classes. And I remember my first spin class, like you walk in and you're kind of uncomfortable. You've never done it before. And then you keep doing it, right? Or pick a class or pick something that we've done. But all those things, it starts with that conscious mind, and then we can build it into the unconscious mind. But we have to keep doing that. What do we need to be? What are we conscious about that can move into the unconscious?
Unconscious. That's right.
I
That's
love
right.
that you
This
shared that.
This conversation has made me think of writing a new book. I may never publish it, but I just wrote down the title of it.
And
It's due to be published.
Tell us.
I've written like 90 books, but maybe 99 by now. I just haven't published one yet.
I can just going back and listening to those examples. I'll use one for those that are listening, and I'll say this with Jose in the back of my mind. I'm going to say I wasn't a technical person. I wasn't a technical person. And then when I started my show, The Power of Reinvention, I was co-producing it with a television. This lady, CFW, has a show on Roku called I Define TV. And I was terrified because I wasn't a technical person. And I had to do certain things. I had to get on I just had to do technical things. But I understood, based off of being an athlete, that if you understand the fundamentals and you work on the fundamentals, you can get everything. So the nervousness, what I did was I asked her to put it on video, step by step, what I needed to do. And then what I did was I went over the video like 20 or 30 times, over and over and over again, till it went from the unconscious. So it went from the
Conscious
to the unconscious. And now I do it within 15 or 20 minutes like that. Something that I was completely fearful of was, something I was completely fearful of became something that was just unconscious after a while. So for those that are listening, if you could just walk through those fears, there's is greatness on the other side of that, because everybody has fears. And fear, when you break it down, is acronym: false events that appear real. You conjure these things up, these things in your head up, and make them this big boogeyman, when in actuality, all you got to do is just walk through it. And for some people, you might have to work a little harder than others, but everything is attainable. And that is another great example of that, is being like a co-producer of my own show.
Lancelot, something that you just said, what you said, the boogeyman, it's also, it's up here, right? It's our mindset. Like when we walk into the room, like, what are we telling ourselves? What's that story? You can either tell yourself a really great story that I'm going to walk in and I'm going to meet 3 people, or you're going to be walking, I'm like, oh, I'm terrified. If you tell yourself you're terrified, you're terrified.
Right.
Don't tell yourself you're terrified. Tell yourself, I'm super excited to walk in the room.
Exactly.
What are you telling yourself? I'm afraid to step on stage. No, I'm super excited to step on stage and share my story, or share what I need to say, and share my message.
It's all they call that the narrative. They call that it's whatever narrative you place on what's happening to you, because it's not really what's happening to you.
It's what we're telling ourselves.
The narrative that you're placing on what happened to you that affects you, that creates the emotion, that creates you being scared or not being scared. You're absolutely right.
There was a great mentor that I had for many years who said to John Coquinos, Sifu knows him, and still, a great mentor. But he said to me, Jose, we're not here to take up the easy, right? And he would always drive that into me all the time, every day at work when I was going into the office, and things were challenging or I was frustrated or something. He said, Jose, we're not here to take up the easy, right? And another mentor of mine in the same office, Commander Ned, God rest his soul, who passed away. Commander Ned said to me, and he was like in his 90s when he passed away, still coming into the office. He said, Jose, this $1 million vision that you have is not going to be built with $1,000 habits. And I said, ooh, boy, he's like, you got to have $1 million habits if you want to have a $1 million life. And it's not, again, it's not the whole money piece in and of itself, because money is a means to an end. It's just a principle of understanding. If you want the grand life, the lifestyle, you want to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. You want to roll over instead of rolling out in the morning if you choose to, right? If you want to give yourself a raise that day, it's up to you. Like that lifestyle, picking up and going to Disney World for a week or going on a vacation for 3 months at a time is up to you. Like that is what he's referring to. So yeah, it's just what we pick up along the way, and it goes back to discomfort, and it goes back to ascending.
Your mindset matters so much. My mindset now is, who do you need to meet? Who has a gift? And that's what I noticed when I met Marco was sitting next to me, and he was writing. And I was like, my gosh, this young man is writing intently. And I'm like, I want to know. I'm curious to know, because I love taking notes too. And I was curious, and it was such a gift talking to him. And so my mindset now is, when you walk into a room, your mindset should be, what's the gift that I have to share with someone? If I choose and decide to be silent, who is missing the opportunity? And then also holding me accountable is, what gift am I missing from someone else by choosing not to engage and have a conversation and step out of my comfort zone? So that mindset is a powerful thing. And if you limit yourself, you're missing a gift to grow and share.
I got to tell you guys, like, my biggest thing is when I go into a room for the first time, believe it or not, I'm always super nervous. No matter what room it is, it just bothers me. I walk into the room, but I have these expectations, right? So I'm like, all right, I know exactly what I have to do because of what I do in general, right? But I also just have these underlying feelings. And in Tampa, I have to tell you, Renee, you were the first person, and you came up to me and you were like, oh, it's such good to meet you, and da-da-da-da-da. And it brightened my day. And then later on, Leon, you did the same thing. You saw me in the hallway running back and forth, and you were like, your smile and blah, blah, blah. And it just made my day. And if you guys were uncomfortable at that meeting, I wouldn't have noticed because you made my discomfort disappear just by like the kind words that you would say throughout the days. Jacqueline, of course, you said the same thing, but these two I'd never met before, in person. And it was just like, thank you. And that's the only thing I could say to either one of you, right? It was just like, thank you. Because it just made my day. And I think, if you see, we're talking about ascending, if you see someone, and we're talking about discomfort. So if you see someone that is just uncomfortable, for example, my brother, super uncomfortable, and bless all three of you for letting my brother come. Super, super, super uncomfortable, like despises being in these types of environments. But he understood that he wanted to do and have his own business, and he wanted to grow. So when I came to Tampa, I was like, listen, here's an opportunity. It's yours to take or yours to lose. And he came. And the first person that he gravitated towards was Marco. And that's why I say, like, it's just very impressive, Marco, how you went from being, in Lancelot's words, stuck to unstoppable. And your discomfort allowed you to connect with another person that was also equally as uncomfortable. And then you guys just opened up to everyone else. So kudos to you guys again.
I got to tell you, your brother, I'm sorry, Marco, and then you can have it. Your brother was not necessarily going to come the next day. I'm like, what are you kidding me? You have to be here. And I kept pressuring him. And it was a happy moment when I saw him the second day, right? So it was pretty cool.
What was it? What was his experience like? What did he say, Michael?
We don't know. We have to ask him. But go ahead, Marco.
Yeah, it was great meeting Austin. He truly is a great guy, and I'm excited to work with him. I have some plans, and I think we can work something out and kind of collab a little bit. But tying back into that whole fitness thing, even till this day, I still get uncomfortable before every single set, jumping under that weight or getting ready for that bench press. Every day, every week, I try to add on a little bit more weight and challenge myself just a little bit more to see how much further I can push. Being in that discomfort now is, like we were talking about, my new comfort zone, finding a new challenge every day. And just also outside the gym, being able to challenge myself in multiple different ways, whether it's a cold shower, whether it's reaching out to new people, whether it's following up with that potential lead, or pushing myself and adding on more weight to my leg press, whatever it is. It's just constantly testing your mind, your willpower, and pushing further. I really like this conversation.
All right. Ooh, 102.
Yeah. See, we have a great conversation. It can go on for hours, but unfortunately, we are ending.
Yes.
That's why I saw the time. I had to cut myself short there, but.
All right, everybody, do us a favor. If you're interested in coming and joining us, go to sifurafael.com/NYC. And by the way, our new website is being built now, and we're going to have that up very, very soon. And Michael Stevenson is going to be the man behind everything that we're doing for New York City. He's one of the people that's making incredible things happen with Brim and Brand. That's his company. And if anybody out there, I'm just going to say it out there, if anybody ever needs coverage for their event, or if you need something done correctly, reach out to Michael. And if you can't get Michael on the phone, reach out to us. We'll hook you up.
I want to just reach out real quick and to piggyback off that. Michael Stevenson, Brim and Brand, they're partnered with Connected Leaders Academy for all of our events. I mean, that's how good they are, right? So outside of the New York City, what we're doing here, he also does CLA events too. So I mean, the guy and Pete, Scott, I mean, they're top notch, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's a generous soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He is generous. And what we saw in the room is the same person you'll meet if you meet him in person. He's got so much knowledge to share. So make sure that you connect with him if you need support.
And he's
And
huggable.
I use him as well. My Brendan. You know, Bremen Bram is my guy too. So
We love you, Michael. Could you tell?
all right, guys. I gotta
See that? Angeline, Michael does great work. Everybody, God bless you. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Have a great day.
take care, guys.
Be unstoppable.
Bye.
Super excited. It was such an amazing experience speaking, and I'm so energized and excited.
Everyone brought the energy, the motivation, and the tools to actually implement to accelerate as a business owner.
I'm really happy to hear at the New York Experience. We just had some of the speakers come up and they were fantastic.
Awesome experience. The quality of people and the quality of the speakers were truly inspirational.
Let me just tell you, the impact in the room, the energy in the room was unbelievable. If you miss this event, there's another event coming up in Tampa. You don't want to miss that event.
It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance.
Sifu Rafael with the New York City Mastermind Experience. I am here with Lancelot and Jose. We're taking it to Tampa.
Real excited to bring our New York City experience to another state. Tampa, watch out, because here we come.
Get your tickets today, folks. We want to see you in Tampa, Florida. Again, NYC Experience in Florida. Get there. Get your tickets now. We'll see you there.
Elevation, that's the sound. NYC